Welcome back to this month's Together We Can action items. My name again is Rob Crain. I'm a personal injury attorney in Dallas, and along with Pastor Richie Butler, we are co-founders of Together We Can. This month we turn to the world of sports and the history of athletes in our country who have brought awareness and who have brought change to the issues of inequality, as well as many other issues, but focusing on the racial barriers and gender barriers which they have knocked down or pushed over, many of which we're still trying to fully climb over, but brought such advancements to our country. We are mindful this month of Women's Equality Day on August 26th and the importance of the work that has been done to bring equality to the genders, but that we've still got work to do. We start our profiles in that vein with Billie Jean King, the great tennis champion who fought so hard for gender rights, and famously the Battle of the Sexes, the tennis match between her and Bobby Riggs, which brought such awareness to the issues, as well as eyes to the television, one of the most viewed events of its time. We then moved to the greatness of Muhammad Ali, and we profile a documentary that is about the Muhammad Ali Summit, which I was not aware of, but is a important and fascinating piece of history that highlights not only Muhammad Ali, but also Jim Brown, Bill Russell, Lou Alcindor, who later known as Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and many other athletes who worked in collaboration during the civil rights movement, along with Dr. Martin Luther King, to bring advancements in different areas of the movement that, and doing so in such concert, we're able to move the ball forward much more quickly. We also profile some amazing women athletes. Althea Gibson, the first black tennis champion at Wimbledon. She won 2 Wimbledon titles and was such a figure of grace and strength, as well as Wilma Rudolph. Wilma Rudolph, the great track and field athlete who set the stage for so many. Ms. Rudolph won 3 gold medals at the 1960s Olympics, and then returned home, as did so many of these athletes, to have all of the challenges of racism and the discrimination of the day come right back to reality. Immediately for her, when she tried to bring her city together for the first time, as they wanted to celebrate her, but they wanted to remain in a segregated community, and she said no. And so for the first time, they came together as a whole community to celebrate her in a joint banquet and joint parade in her hometown. We turn to the world of baseball and the legendary Hank Aaron, who overtook Babe Ruth's home run record and did so in the face of insults and criticism and threats to his life, but did so and continued to move through that record with such strength and grace. President Obama said that Hank Aaron was the strongest man that he and the First Lady had ever met. And we all, of course, take a look at Jackie Robinson, the first black baseball player in American history, and that great story and the intricacies of the story. And we've also provided a segment of Jackie Robinson in his own words. And as we've tried to do with each of these athletes, we've tried to bring their interviews, their words of their history to you so that you get to hear straight from them. And he's got some remarkable messages and continued his work of civil rights well beyond his playing days. In our extras this month, we highlight the great Arthur Ashe, such a gentleman, a man of grace and dignity on the tennis court and off the tennis court. He was refused the ability to play in apartheid South Africa because of his race, and he worked the remainder of his life after tennis continuing to fight for equality and civil rights, as well as when he later contracted HIV from a blood transfusion, bringing education to schools and the inner city schools in particular, and not only educating them as to the dangers of the virus and how to avoid contracting the virus, but he also was adamant that the important piece was inspiring young people, that when they got to the moments of having to make the right decisions, that they had the fortitude to do so. So these wonderful figures have made their mark on our history, and they continue to do so. And the importance of the topic this month is not just for what has happened in the past, but where we are today. As we all know, sports continues to be a monumental platform for athletes to speak, for athletes to bring up their causes, their beliefs as to what important changes need to take place in this country. We've seen it with the protests of the national anthem started by Colin Kaepernick, NBA players walking off the court and declining to play in the aftermath of violence to African Americans. And it's going to continue to be an important platform for this country to work through our challenges. And it is a great platform, as we've seen through the Olympics. Sports can be such a galvanizing influence. We all got behind our athletes in China for the Olympics, and we all got behind the Olympic spirit, having athletes from all over the world who come together, who have worked so hard to get to that moment and to then compete within the structure and rules of the Olympics, and to do so with great sportsmanship. It is such an example for all of us that I know we hope all translates to relations around the world getting better between our countries. But such a wonderful gift that sports has been provided to us in many ways, but also in the way of being able to talk through and work through issues that are so vital to the future of our country. So we hope you enjoy this month's Action Items.